Hello, hello, Otafest listeners. It is I, Angelo, along with Jay and Nancy.
No way.
And I have some news and announcements for you.
What?
Isn't that exciting?
Shocking.
As Calgary's largest non-profit fandom convention, Otafest provides fans of all ages with geeky interests a friendly place where they feel like they belong. While we may not be able to provide a physical place for fans to get together and celebrate those common interests this year, we are thrilled to offer an online alternative. Otafest 2021, a live streamed event.
With interactive programming from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., Otafest 2021. Wow. Otafest 2021 will be a safe, fun, and exciting convention experience unlike any we've hosted before. More information will be announced over the next few months, so keep an eye out for a sneak peek into this year's features and programming. Lovers, I hope you can join us this year as we embark upon a brand new adventure.
My God.
It's happening! I'm glad that something is happening this year. Last year was depressing without Otafest.
Last year was just very hollow. It felt like so much was missing.
A lot of us, there's a lack of obvious community, and there's a lack of for me there's also a lack of creative projects to work on and sort of things that are fulfilling. But yeah, we're working on that. We can't talk about it too much, unfortunately. Just because things are still in motion for planning, but like we said, there will be some mini announcements of sorts about what you can expect, and we're working hard at it. And it's only, my God, now it feels like a real con. It's only 3 months away.
Oh my God. I was gonna ask if it's still happening in May, and okay, I guess it is.
Yes, I think it is.
I believe it is. I believe it's over our usual time slot of Victoria long weekend.
Yeah.
Right?
Nice.
Yeah.
And this does not preclude any, I know we didn't get to do too much, but we're still sort of it's important to remember that we're not a production company at heart. We're an event organizer, but we're not we don't have pro level cameras everywhere with pro level lighting and backgrounds and everything like that. So it's taken us a while to get us to a comfortable position where we feel like we can provide those things. And hopefully that means we can commit to doing some more online things throughout the year. Of course, that's not a promise, but this is a big part into sort of stretching out and seeing just what we can accomplish, so we can implement that into future projects too.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like if we get this done right, offering online content, just being there for the people, for all the lovely weebs that we've got out there, it'll be nice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I've been trying to do as an overall project for years, because I don't know if people really remember it, but there was a Twitch channel that we had going, but we tried to keep that active, but unfortunately it was logistically very difficult to do so, and it was difficult to ask of people to keep it up. And then we have obviously the podcast going, and there is...
I would argue that the podcast has been very successful in existing.
We definitely exist every week.
I heard that we've exceeded a previous record in terms of podcast uploads. It's been an interesting time.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Apparently we've exceeded what was it? The free tier for whatever system we're on, which I don't want to drop names. I know what it is, but I don't want to drop product naming.
People are taking up our bandwidth. God damn it. I mean, wait, that's a good thing.
Nice.
It's cool because I think that's sort of one of those things where it's all the hard work we put into it's kind of paying off, and it's kind of nice to know.
Yeah. It's troubling from a back end perspective, not troubling, but we're still small. We're still very very much an indie and niche sort of podcast, obviously, but I still feel it's nice to know that there's growth, and it's nice to know that maybe we're reaching out to audiences that could really use a little bit more of their local cons content, and in times that there's not a lot going. Oh, actually, speaking to that, and something I found kind of cool. As you might know, February, I guess mostly in the U.S., but it bleeds over to here, is like Black History Month, and I believe during the first week of February, I was seeing a lot of like posts on Twitter, especially about like Black cosplay, and they were doing like Black cosplay exhibitions and shows and like maybe even contests depending on where they were sort of submitting their posts to. I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Just like the community provides content for itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw some really cool stuff.
Pretty awesome.
And yeah, I don't want to get into like the political part of it, but I think that cosplay is just cosplay, and honestly, if it looks pretty cool, I will support it every time.
Every single time. Good cosplay is good cosplay.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
And you can even argue that bad cosplay is still a hell of a lot of fun.
That is also very true.
Actually, Iron cosplay at Otafest is one of my favorite panels always.
Iron cosplay is just one of the best things that I think anyone can participate in, even if you're not a cosplayer, because God knows I'm not a cosplayer.
It's really where you see the most imagination come out of people, and I just love that.
Yes.
Yeah, I love the panic-induced inspiration that happens when
You have
like during it.
10
it's
minutes,
so good.
and you see everyone go,
Hell yeah.
Totes.
yeah, my favorite is when it's not really like costume specific, but when people like groups go out of their way to make props too.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
then you don't know what they're gonna go for, because like you're limited by the human form, but props are the next level.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
oh. You know what else
But
is
yeah.
the next level? Samyang
No.
Bulldog super spicy fire noodles.
Fire noodles. I haven't had those
We've
in
had those.
so long, but I
We've had
loved
those
it.
for
when I-
we've made those for Bento Banzai.
Yeah, nice.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Last week, I saw permanently banned Otafest cosplayer, message redacted, post some
Can't
on
even
Twitter.
no, you're gonna have to redact that. You're gonna have to be like, he who cannot be named.
He who cannot be named.
Can we use blips? Can we just blip the name out? Permanently banned cosplayer. Beep.
Yeah. We're gonna have to.
Permanently banned, message redacted.
Anyway, you were saying.
So, message redacted posted some fire noodles on Twitter about how afraid they were of these noodles, and I was like, man, these look wonderful. I looked it up online, and they were like 8,000 or 9,000 Scovilles apparently. So it's like, so I was expecting like a really angry jalapeno, but
Yeah.
I saw them in co-op the other day, and so I was like, yeah, I'll pick those
Co-op
up.
had them.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Co-op
they're
International
they're
aisle.
fairly ubiquitous. You can find them in most grocery stores now.
Dude, the last time I wanted to have fire noodles, I had to specifically go to Korean grocery stores to find it.
I don't know. I just found them at co-op in the international aisle, and I was like, you know
What a
what?
find.
I'm going to try those because I like spicy things. And so last night I was like, yeah, I'm a little bit hungry. I'm gonna go for some fire noodles, and so I unpacked them, and they were like your regular kind of instant noodles, but they looked nice and thick. And there were like 2 packets in them, and one packet was like sesame seeds and like little seaweed bits, and I was like, oh, this is fancy. And then instead of like that powdered stuff, it's actually like a gooey
An
sauce in
actual
the other
sauce packet.
and so like I squeezed that out on the noodles, and like I just threw them in the microwave to get them going, but there was still sauce left in the packet, and I was like, do I dare? Do I try it? So like I got some on my finger and tasted it, and I was like, wait, this is amazing. And so I like sucked out all the contents of the package. It was so good.
Wow.
And like the instant noodles themselves, once they were cooked, they were like thick, they were like toothsome, like they were spicy, just like I expected. It was a particularly angry jalapeno level of spice. Like one of the spicier jalapenos you could possibly get. Nothing I couldn't handle. It was thoroughly enjoyable. Absolutely my favorite instant noodles now.
So Jay, I don't know about you, but like almost every other Asian I've known, they have like a grading scale for brands of instant noodles. It's like there's the stuff that sits at the bottom that's kind of like the I will reach for this if I have to, and it's the cheapest stuff out there.
Yeah, that's
and
like
then there's
Mama.
like and then there's like mid tier, and then there's like the higher tier stuff.
Right.
I
Mid tier is
think-
always going to be like Ichiban. Like it's that most average.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah, or like Nissan. Nissan's okay.
Nissan is the one who makes Ichiban.
Back when I was
Yeah.
in college, I used to have Mr. Noodles a lot. And like
Mr.
they
Noodles
were
is
fine.
below.
They
is
were like
below-
the absolute bottom tier, I
is
find.
Yep.
below.
Pretty much.
And I don't know what happened. Like sometime, like a couple years after college, I tried them again, and I was like, "Wait a minute, what the fuck is this? Is this seasoning packet? There's like 3 grains of whatever the fuck in there. Are they all like this?" And I kept opening them up, and it's like, yeah, the seasoning packet basically leaves me with pure fucking water. I think I get dirtier water from my fucking Brita than the broth that this seasoning packet gives you.
Yeah.
I feel like this was the point in Angelo's like palate development where he finally was like, "Oh, I'm developing real taste buds as an adolescent."
And like, so like Ichiban is like the bare minimum of what I will tolerate for instant noodles.
So to talk about that, like the sort of ranking and grading of noodles. I never had any instant ramen when I was in Japan, which seems like a mistake now. Like I should have just made some while at the place, like bought some from the convenience store and made them at the place I was staying. But I don't really worry about that too much. I generally like Korean packaging, like Korean style ramyeon, more than I like ramen.
Shin ramyun.
Ramen is good, but I grew up on that stuff. It's very similar to like Chinese instant noodles. It's not really like a big stretch to call them pretty much the same. Ramyeon, however, is usually thicker. Toothsome being the word that Angelo
Toothsome.
has used, and I am stealing now.
Indeed.
It's a good word.
I like their seasoning packaging more. Mainly, like I also like their mixed noodles more. I do love a good mixed noodle as opposed to a soup noodle, and I always like a jjajangmyeon more. And yeah, like generally speaking, if you think that all instant noodle is the same, you are incorrect. And you should
yes.
probably try the Korean stuff. They just come out better and have better seasoning. Have it's not any harder to make. It's still as easy,
Oh, absolutely.
but it's just tastier, and you feel like you're actually having something of substance instead of. Here's the thing. We still, for groceries, every now and then, maybe every few months, we will buy like a thing of like ramen, just as like, hey, you need a snack, go get me some ramen, and I will sometimes still do the thing where I crush up the dry noodles, and then I
Yeah.
just use a seasoning pack to make like the little snacky noodles, right?
Hell
Oh,
yeah,
I
snacky
do
bits.
that.
But I would never do that with the Korean ramyeon.
I think you would stab yourself in the cheek. I feel
That's
like the
not
noodles
true.
are too thick for that.
But I don't think they're not snacking noodles. They are meal noodles.
Oh yeah,
is what
absolutely.
ramyeon is.
Absolutely. Like it
But
was.
yeah.
It was so filling to
So-
the point where I actually didn't even finish off all of the broth. Like there was
Yeah.
a quarter of
Wow.
the broth just sitting left in the bowl. But I was just satisfied. What I want to try next time I make it is do more of a stovetop method and like fry off most of the water. Boil off most of the water, I should say. And then so I get more of like,
Concentrated flavor.
yeah. So all the sauce is on the noodles.
Add chicken and add cheese.
I've got some leftover
Or-
chicken.
I like
cheese.
sometimes I like to just poach an egg in the broth.
Yeah.
I do that.
That's
Actually,
that's
I don't
really
poach
good.
eggs. I fry
No?
eggs. I fry eggs every time because I like the crisp. The crisp.
That's fair. A lot of people like crispy eggs, but I like if I'm gonna be making something like that, I like doing it in the broth. It just soaks up all that extra,
Right.
MSG goodness.
I feel like I haven't done that in the past, just because I find that like instant ramen isn't worth adding the extra cost of an egg. Like it's such a cheap meal that adding the extra 50 cents worth of ingredient doesn't justify it. But you know who else justifies the extra 50 cents of ingredients?
I was gonna say, before we get there, but very close to it. Do you feel weird about paying extra for something that is supposed to be cheap?
Yes.
Yes?
When I see
Because,
Ichiban
like,
for over
ramen-
$1, I'm like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's stupid. I'm not
That's
that
stupid,
dumb.
and I would be stupid for buying it.
I refuse to pay over $1 for Ichiban.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
that's like going to a cafe and they literally serve you instant noodles, but they're charging you like $5 for it.
that would
Why?
be insanity.
I would slap
and I
those
would
noodles
use.
in the face.
So imagine something that's expensive, and then it's more expensive.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Let's
So,
get
Jay,
into
how
some
much
tech chat.
How much did you and Bayfar spend for your VR setup?
I mean, it's not my VR setup; it's still Bayfar's.
Okay. Okay.
How much was spent?
I think he got it secondhand, which the price is low. I think he got it for 5 or 6.
Yeah. That's
100.
basically what I paid for mine too, because I just bought a used
yeah, you
Vive.
got yours secondhand.
Yeah, I bought a used Vive.
Yeah. We talked about this last year.
And
Yeah.
so Apple is like, wow, these motherfuckers out here are only willing to spend $500 dues Canadian.
Let's try
What if we make
sextupling
it-
that.
6 times more American.
The way that you said it could be interpreted as it's 6 times more American.
Let's get some hot dogs and some guns and steaks up in
comes-
this VR headset.
It comes with oppression and a bald eagle.
Yikes. Yikes. All right, so anyway, I am not shy about my opinion that Apple's stuff is usually really nicely put together. It's just not worth the extra markup that, like, in my personal opinion, is not worth the extra that they charge on top for the branding, for the, all that stuff. 6 times more for a VR headset sounds a little excessive.
To be fair, it's twice as expensive as a brand new Valve Index. So, to put it into perspective, you could only buy 2 Valve Indexes, one of the best VR headsets on the market, for the price of this, for the rumored price of this rumored Apple VR headset.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Little
like,
too
other
rich
VR
for my blood.
headset prices. Like the HTC Vive Pro is about $2,000 Canadian. The Oculus Rift, no, not the Oculus Rift. What am I saying? The Oculus Quest 2 is about $400. Pretty good price, I would say.
You have to keep in mind, that's an American price. So, once it comes to Canada, you're looking like $35, $38, or $4,000.
Potentially. I
Hooray.
mean, here's the thing with Apple things as well, is they, in the last 5 to 10 years, which is a pretty big span, but I feel like they didn't used to do this, even though I've never been a super loyal Apple customer. They have been, they make a lot of variant products. So they'll have one that is like this model, and then the Pro level. They'll make this one with this capacity, and then the next capacity. They'll make this one with the fancy thing, and this one without the fancy thing, and that's gonna give you another $150, $250 in difference.
From what I've read, they are working very hard to try to justify that price point. Like, the rumor right now is to have two 8K displays in the headset, which is absolutely bonkers. The other rumor going around is that they're going to develop some more of their in-house silicon, supposedly even more powerful than their M1 processor, which, to be fair, is an
Is some
extremely
good stuff.
good processor. I like to criticize Apple. I love to criticize Apple. And for me to say that they actually did something fucking good scares me. They're
But yeah.
supposedly trying to make it much thinner, lighter, closer to your face. Supposedly they have interchangeable headbands. So kind of like how your Apple Watch has interchangeable wristbands. They're going to have
Yep.
stylish fucking headbands.
Oh yeah,
course
that's
they
the thing.
are.
That's the other thing.
It's Apple.
They're gonna try to make you look good while you're doing
Well,
stupid
yeah.
stuff.
It's going to be supposedly built for VR, but with very strong AR capabilities. They're saying like
Interesting.
the fact that there's actual numbers attached to these rumors is kind of crazy. They're supposedly going to have like 12 exterior cameras specifically for hand tracking.
Yep.
They're going to have a bunch of depth sensors or just different sensors to get your room layout.
Yep.
Like it is crazy.
A lot of spatial recognition tech. The biggest one to me is, and something that I've already asked for, I guess, in a hypothetical VR headset, which is hand recognition. The understanding that you have external cameras that sense your hand movements, and yeah, you're gonna have to hold them a little higher than you would in real life, because in real life you tend to keep your hands around your stomach. Like that's just the level that they sort of generally exist in. That's where you pick up stuff, unless you're raising it to your face, But like in games, if you played like a first-person game of any kind, whether it's a FPS or Skyrim or something like that, your hands are weirdly and uncomfortably high up, close to your head.
Yeah.
They're sort of at like a 40 or around your neck, essentially in height.
Yeah.
So you
It's
can see your
weird.
thumbs and fingers and then holding stuff, but you would normally not do that. But that being said, you will have to hold them there probably because so the game can see, or the tech can see your hands. But on the other hand, you won't have to wear like gloves, and you won't have to do like the like pressing the buttons and stuff. Like you probably can do something like button-wise, controls-wise within the game in terms of like your thumb taps your index finger, and that's a type of control. Maybe that's okay. That's pressing A, for example. And then you could do like other things like that where it's all gesture-based. You do have to be careful with that because obviously gestures can be mixed up, which is why they're probably investing a lot of money into the camera system. It's going to be expensive, but I think it's a big step into making this whole VR. It's still a fad, I would call it. It's into making it something much more legitimate in terms of being accessible to people who are not used to having gaming
accessible
peripherals, for one thing.
At $3,000.
Hey man,
Yeah.
No, this is not about accessibility.
no,
This
this
is
isn't
about
about
having shiny
accessibility,
toys.
but it's
Making
about
the
step.
best-
It's a step in the right direction for accessibility because other companies will have to follow suit, and not all of them will be charging $3,000.
So there's two things that this tells me, honestly. The fact that Apple is doing anything with VR at all actually strengthens my belief that VR is not actually just a fad. If you asked me like 3 years ago, yeah, I would have been telling you that, it's going to die in like 2 years, just like 3D TVs or curved TVs or whatever the hell.
Just like any of Google's purported
Oh
platforms.
my God. Yeah. Can we talk about Stadia next week?
Yeah, let's do that.
But after getting a Vive myself, it convinced me that VR is one of the futures of gaming. And by that I mean gaming does not have the future of gaming. Like consoles are not the future of gaming. They're one of them. PC isn't the future of gaming. It's one of them. Online streaming services like Stadia, as much as I feel like Stadia is an absolute failure, because it is one of the futures of gaming. I don't think it's going away. And
Right.
VR the same way. Apple doing something. They are a notoriously conservative company. They don't really like to enter into a brand new market. They like to enter into an established market and fucking dominate it.
Right.
So the fact that Apple is making a VR headset is just, to me, more evidence that VR is sticking around.
I'm not saying that VR won't stick around. I'm just saying that at this point it would still be a fad because it's not accessible to most, and it's not the software involved is not nearly at the quality of other things. Like this is something that we beat as a dead horse. I don't want to get into it, but like it's just, it'd be hard pressed to say that we're at where we want to be with VR. So this is again a step into a real possibility that continued development and better products that will lead to more accessible products in the VR product space is actually possible.
If I had
I
to,
agree with that.
Okay. If I had to say that anyone is actively harming or slowing down VR, I would say that Facebook is the only person, or only company, I should say.
No. In the U.S., remember,
In the
companies
U.S.,
are people.
companies are people.
Facebook is the only entity that is really actively harming VR because they have what is arguably the best VR headset in the Oculus Quest. It's cheap. It is kind of good. You don't need anything else. Like, it is a consoleized, good VR headset.
But you need to have a Facebook account to use it.
And that's the thing. Until Facebook demonstrated that they were going to be actively harmful to their gaming environment with that, people were on the fence about it. Is Facebook going to do anything? Because this is really good. This is good hardware. You can hook it up to a PC if you want to and use it like a traditional VR headset. You can use it as a standalone VR headset. The Oculus Quest, until Facebook did all that bullshit, I would argue that it was the best one because it's good and cheap.
Yeah, it was accessible. It was not like super accessible because I still think it's a lot of money, but you could, save up for a little while and you could definitely afford one.
Yeah. Like, I would never, ever spend $3,000 for a VR headset. I could be making $100,000 a year. Can you imagine
buying a console for $3,000?
And I still wouldn't. Like,
I couldn't imagine buying any gaming thing for more than $3,000. That'd be stupid.
Mr.
Well, $3,000 is like
you
what?
Spent that on your graphics
2.5
card.
smartphones right now.
Yeah.
Like, how many iPhones is it right now?
Many.
2 to 3.
Yeah, it's like 2.5-ish smartphones. Like a flagship smartphone, I should clarify. But
yeah,
it's still a lot of
we've
money.
had this discussion before where it's like a smartphone is a daily use object.
Yes, you are right.
It's my computer, this expensive bitch, is
your
a
sweet,
daily
sweet
use
baby,
object.
you mean?
Is a daily use object. I don't like spending money on things that I don't think I'll be using on the regular, and also cost the mucho dineros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
could just... It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I am, though, like, to end this discussion on a positive note, I am actually quite excited to see what Apple's research department does with this, because Apple's always been really big on HCI, human computer interaction, and VR has always been the assumed space that HCI would eventually move into at a more, commercialized level. So it's kind of nice that Apple's dumping the big dollars on doing this. Like, I am very interested to see if they do move HCI and the VR world into a very interesting direction, or if it's just going to be one of those things where they're removing headphone jacks out of phones.
Is it going to be the Apple Newton or the Apple Pippin? I honestly,
I haven't heard that name in a while.
I don't think it is. I think Apple at this point is smart enough to know that when they make a product, it's going to be successful. Based on whatever level of success they intend it to be. And at $3,000, they know exactly who they're selling to.
I would say yes and no. Apple fanboyism isn't what it used to be.
It's not.
No?
But I don't think they really rely on fanboyism anymore. Like, quite frankly, when Apple came out and said, yeah, we're making our own ARM notebooks, I thought that was the dumbest thing they could ever do. And then they actually came out, and I was like, wait, they did everything about this right from a user perspective. Not exactly a power user perspective, not from like a techie perspective like myself, but for their average users, they could use one of those M1 MacBooks and never even know or care that it's not an x86 CPU.
Mm-hmm.
Like Apple, as much as I don't like them, they kind of know what they're doing right now.
And that's kind of why I'm interested to see where they take this.
Yeah. That's why it's
it is
really
an established
interesting.
space. Like, there's already many competing models out there of varying degree of, price point. And, it's Apple, so we know they're going to be playing in the higher end of that. But, I am interested to see what other things come out of this. Whether it's different HCI patterns, whether it's actually like really cool tech, which I would love to see. Having something that's thinner, closer to your face, that sounds good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I we'll see what it looks like. I don't know if anything else. Like I said, it'll be good for accessibility. We'll see if it's actually going to be worth what they put into it. And one of the big things is, like we've talked about with other platforms, is you have to develop for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other games that develop for people having controllers, great. You've got Apple, who doesn't want to have to do that. So, like, having you hold controllers or whatever. So it's going to be a different approach for those programmers. And then there's also the lack of general software for those existing VR headsets anyways. So where are we going to go with that?
I am curious what this will mean for games developers because, Angelo, I don't know if you've ever had to develop anything with like an Apple SDK, but you have to pay to have a license to even develop for a platform of theirs.
I've looked into iOS development before and extremely quickly noped out of it.
Okay, so you kind of know what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Like, honestly, when I say I don't like Apple, it's coming from very many different places.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, for a games developer, this could make or break anything they work on. Because if they choose to port an existing game to it, there's probably going to be a significant amount of work just to make it run on this hardware and actually play well with all of the features that will come with it.
If we know anything about Apple, it won't play well with Unreal 4.
Oh, geez, you're right. Okay.
No Fortnite VR on the Apple VR.
Okay.
They're a spiteful company. But you know what the opposite of spite is? Valentine's Day.
That's not true.
That's not true at all. You're right. I was just trying to make a segue. Like, at first I was thinking, it's like, Nancy just said, that's a good thing. And I was going to be like, you know what else is good?
No.
Having an entire mouthful of those cinnamon hearts.
Ooh, cinnamon
hearts. That's absolutely not true.
I like love cinnamon hearts.
I know cinnamon hearts are like a very divisive thing, but I actually like them.
I would put them in my mouth, yes, but to say that I love them would be quite the stretch. I don't think there's any... Other than chocolate, there is no... And like a good dinner, there's nothing like particularly good about like Valentine's treats. I don't think there's a like Easter.
A lot of them are way too
Easter.
sugary.
You get like the what do you call it? The caramel eggs or the ones with the
Cadbury eggs.
Cadbury
eggs, right?
The cream eggs.
Oh, the mini eggs are so good. I love those.
The mini eggs are just, I don't know what is in that chocolate, but they're addictive.
It's crack. It's literal crack.
I once found a dark chocolate version of mini eggs, and yeah, those were my favorite thing for that whole
God.
season.
But I don't really get cinnamon hearts. I don't like the stupid little message hearts either. Like, I guess they're cute.
Okay, the message hearts, the hearts with words on them, they taste awful. I would actively throw them in the garbage, but they're cute as hell.
But why can't we make them taste better?
Because
I don't know, but like,
I don't know.
Those are. Is there actually a name for that type of candy, like the chalky? Like,
I think they're just called candy hearts.
Well, no, but like that format, because like rockets are the same thing, arguably significantly better tasting, but it's like rockets are the same thing. I guess. Anyway,
know.
I actually really like those kinds of candies, but you're right. The hearts taste the worst out of all of them.
They literally taste like chalk or clay.
I think they might actually be chalk.
I would not be surprised. But
like, you know how there's ones that actually turn kind of like bubbly, like they fizz in your mouth? Those ones are fun.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, those ones.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Those ones are great.
Those ones are fun. Rockets in general are just sugar, so
I do
mean,
not like rockets. Every Halloween where I would like be picking rockets out of my Halloween bag, the candy bag, I'd be like, who did this to? There'd be like half the bag, and half of them would be like rockets, and I was like, who hurt you? Who did this?
Rockets are usually
what would
the rarest
compel
thing
you
I got.
to buy rockets and actually give them to children. Under what circumstance? And yeah, so I actually have a very long history of not liking rockets.
That's fire.
Do we have
also
American
in
listeners?
the
For any
meh
American listeners
category.
out there, you guys call them Smarties, but up here in Canada, Smarties are something completely different.
Smarties are like
They're
cheap.
M&Ms, but without the M printed on them.
cheap M&Ms. They're not good M&Ms.
They're cheap
They used to
M&Ms.
be
I
really
like
good, but
M&Ms
now they're
more
waxy.
than
Chinese New Year is also coming up.
Oh,
Chinese. Well, I say Chinese New Year because I grew up. It used to be Chinese New Year, and now it's Lunar New Year. I'm old, and I'm gonna keep on calling it Chinese New Year because I'm also Chinese. So ha.
Imagine calling Chinese New
care.
Year Chinese New Year because you're Chinese. How dare
know.
you?
Cancel me.
imagine.
It's Year of the Ox coming up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chinese New Year also has some decent candies. Like
Does
there's a
it?
lot of
Yeah, like
it's
the-
very food. Like Chinese and Asian celebrations are very food centric, anyways. But
Very.
I would say like yeah, they have some nice little treats and candies and stuff. There's the what is it? Is it the lychee one? The little the one in the red packaging that like it has like it's a hard candy that has
Yeah.
like little stripe texturing. I think it's like supposed to be lychee. And then
I don't
inside
think
it's
it's
got like a
lychee at
lychee
all.
syrup or something like that.
Oh.
I don't
No.
actually know what that one is.
I don't
but
know
it's
what it is
tasty.
either, but it's
But
like
you know what I'm
mildly
talking about.
fruity, a little bit creamy. Everyone knows what you're talking about because it's always the candy that comes in the red and gold foil packaging.
Yeah. It's
Oh
tasty.
my.
Anyway, those are good. What else? My mom usually makes lean go and the other one with like the white carrots in it, the daikon in it, the radish.
Oh yeah.
Radish cake?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. So usually there's like a variety of foods that are made, and they are the names of the foods make them significant because they're puns for things that are supposed to be like good fortune or
Good luck
luck
and
or
fortune,
things
yeah.
like that for the new year.
That's
So,
wonderful.
That is
Lingo
basically.
is my
By the way,
favorite.
like, if you don't know, like, Chinese, like, the most traditional form of humor in Chinese is puns.
pun play.
Wow,
play.
I did not know that at all.
It's because
so-
we have so many homophones.
We
So like
do.
words that sound the same.
Like that one poem that's all just made up of different variations of she.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a
Earlier
big
I
part.
mentioned lean go, and that one is like a very sweet, involves coconut milk. It's almost like a gelatinous, I'm going to call it a cake, but it's like a very inaccurate translation of the name. But it's kind of this thing that you fry, like you fry it in a pan, thin slices of it with egg, and it turns into this lovely, delightful, gooey pudding. But
Oh
the
my.
reason people like to eat it for New Year's is because lean go is the same sound as every year grow taller.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And that is like, one for the kids, right? It's like, may you grow taller, may you improve yourself every year. That's the blessing that comes with that food.
Yeah, that would've
because
been a
it's
problem
named
for me
something
for the
that
last
sounds like
decade.
it.
But yeah, like it's. I think there's most of the food is like that, and all. It's always like the color is representative of like fortune and good luck, and a bunch of stuff like that. I'm probably just getting a duck. I think this year. Actually,
Nice.
I think I'm working technically, but I'm gonna. Well, I'm working on the day that it starts, but
What day is it?
I think it's on the 12th.
Okay.
Is the 12th the new year, or is the 12th like when all the festivities begin? Because festivities begin on the last day of the year.
Yeah. but I still think like technically it's the 12th.
Okay. But yeah, Lunar New Year
It's
for
gonna go for a
Chinese people
year.
is you do some things to cap off the old year, and then you do things to start the new year, and then you celebrate the first 3 days of the new year. And then there are some cultures that celebrate for the whole first week straight. There is something special that happens on like the first 15th of the year, and I think there's
Yeah.
something that we do on the 7th of the year as well.
There's a
So
whole
it's
bunch
like-
of stuff. I'm not traditional enough to know all of it.
There's
because
a lot of different ways that families
I
celebrate
have
it.
lost.
Though, so it
the,
totally
I have
depends.
lost the old ways.
No,
I just
not
eat.
the old ways.
just
Just
eat.
eat food and enjoy it.
Yeah, and if there's youngins, even though I'm not married, technically I don't have to. I don't mind giving out red pockets.
Oh, that's
Whatever.
nice.
I don't know.
I need to like find red pockets.
You need to give red pockets.
Apparently, I need to find
Just go
like
Chinatown.
nice red pockets.
Just go to Chinatown.
There is a TNT nearby. I could just go to a TNT.
You could also do that. But you could also just go to Chinatown. Yeah. Are you gonna do anything for Valentine's Day, Angelo?
I have no idea. I probably should.
Are you gonna do anything, Nancy? I mean, I have nobody, so.
We're not really
just not gonna
Valentine's
worry about
people. Like we don't like to celebrate because someone said it's Valentine's Day. We like to do things because we feel like it. So like a week
Disgusting.
ago, Sean went and
think-
bought me chocolate just because.
No, I think
Yes.
the only way to show love is to do it in the most marketable, capitalistic way possible. So
Buy me things.
he had
No.
better. He had
No.
better. What else is a man good for?
If not to buy me chocolates and treats.
Yeah, and
Um,
trinkets. I think most people are probably just gonna order in, not go crazy. Even though, like, I think restaurants are opening up pretty soon here. It's not really that worth it. And honestly, spending time at home with food is usually nicer than having to go out for food. Really,
True facts.
the only times I really
Yeah.
want to go out for food is like if the food is specifically better at the restaurant, like so much better that I need to go out for it. When it's not a pandemic, then I'll consider it.
Still gonna wait for that first inaugural hot pot that we have as a group when this is all over.
Yes,
I need
please.
hot pot at Wimpter. I don't have a hot pot stove. I could just make hot pot anyways, but
You could
I'm
literally
giving
just
myself
eat hot
excuses.
pot over the stove if you were just gonna have
we've
it by
had-
yourself.
We've had this discussion on the podcast.
We have
One of the biggest problems is that I want the big foods, many food.
the big meats.
I need all you can eat to satisfy me because I don't want to spend like $50 otherwise on like my own single serving of food. That's what it's gonna be. But if I go to all you can eat, I can pay $25 for all the food I can consume and more.
Man,
So-
buffets must be really
Food.
hurting from the pandemic.
I don't know how buffets are coming back.
I feel like buffet as a restaurant style is effectively dead.
I think what it's gonna be like, they're gonna be around, but I think it's gonna be like, you're gonna walk up with your plate or whatever, and like it's gonna be behind like a glass thing, and then essentially you tell them, hey, scoop more of this, scoop more of this, scoop more of this. But I don't want that. You know
No, I
why?
don't.
Because they're gonna judge me.
Yeah.
No one's gonna judge you. It's a
Before-
buffet.
Before, yeah, but I feel
When you
that
go
way.
up
whether they
for
judge
like
me or
the
not.
8th time just to fill your plate with mashed potatoes again, they're like, "What?
That's exactly it.
You've been
like-
here 8
at a Chinese
times
buffet.
before for 7 other mashed. Other people want
I'm
mashed
gonna-
potatoes. You can't
I'm
just
gonna
have
put
all
out
the
there.
mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it out there now that I'm gonna be judged by listeners and friends and folk alike that I will take like 20 dumplings.
Oh my god! Yeah, I'm judging you right now.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's
Yeah.
sort of
Just a
like a
little bit.
for the table thing too, because we all typically like dumplings.
No,
But
I'm
at the
judging
same
you
time,
super hard right
I'm
now.
taking a shitload of dumplings, and I'm not really that sorry because I can do it and sneak away. But now some goddamn paid person is going to have to do that for me. And they'll be like, you absolute scumbag, I'm ringing up more dumplings now from the kitchen because of you. And look at these people behind you, the 2 or 3 that also probably wanted at least 1 dumpling, and you have taken 15.
You know what, though, Jay? If it ends up being like that, I have to go with you, because then you look like the asshole, and me just having a large overfilled plate looks relatively normal.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but you're tall. It's expected for tall people to have overfilled plates.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like you're not going to get terribly judged for that one.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to stand beside you in the buffet line, and all the food I'm getting, I'm going to attribute to you. It's like, yeah, can I get more of the pork? Yeah, he wants like extra pork. So
Yeah, it's for my friend.
Oh, yeah, we're here. Yeah, he didn't have enough room on his plate. He asked me to grab a second one. Can we get some more of those mashed potatoes and some of that broccoli?
And like
A
15
lot of
more
the broccoli.
dumplings. Yeah.
We're gonna
like
need a third
15
plate,
more.
actually.
Well,
Yeah.
Can you just
feels
get a
bad.
waiter
I
over
can't
here?
go to buffet with Jay ever again.
Ever.
Ever.
No.
I've been also craving like Korean barbecue.
Oh.
All you can eat Korean barbecue.
Yeah, bro. I'm just craving in
All the
general. I haven't
meat.
eaten yet. I need to eat. And on that note, I want to end the podcast so I can go eat.
So just like your plate, the podcast is full.
I think so.
Well, night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
God damn it. I mean, goodbye.